Okay, we're back. In this part of the lab activity, we're going to learn how to import data from an external URL. This is a very useful thing to do in environmental science since there's all sorts of data out there, and we want to be able to access it and then play around with the data too, maybe calculate some different things from the data on our own. So the first thing you want to do is go to this United Nations website on population, and we should be able to get to it if we control click, and it'll open up. And we can select population, and we want to look at the world population. The world population is the first region at the end of all the countries, right after Zimbabwe. And now we have two options. We can display it, or we can download a .cvs file. Choose the display option first. It gives us a table here of years and estimated world population in thousands. Okay, and so this number here, the first number would be 2.5 billion or 2.76 billion. I'll select this and then copy it using either the Edit, Copy, or the Control-C button simultaneously. And then I'll go over to Excel, which I already have open, and I'll just paste this into this column, these two columns here. And what I'll do is I'll use Paste Special, and if I use the Unicode text, it preserves the formatting. One of the problems, though, that we have with this data is that the numbers are separated by spaces to separate billions and millions and thousands. Okay, and so we could get rid of the spaces manually, but we've got quite a few rows here. That would be somewhat tedious. So the easiest way to do this, to tidy this up, is to go over here to the Data tab and then Text to Columns, and then it automatically creates 3 new columns from my data. Now I'm going to insert a new column here, go over to the Home tab, the easiest way to do this, select this whole column, and then just click Insert. It knows what you want to do. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to calculate from these 2 columns. I'm going to ignore that last column. From these 2 columns, calculate the population in billions. So it's going to be equal to this number plus this number divided by 1,000. Okay, 529 divided by 1,000 is the number of billion people. Okay, so 2.529, and you can see why I ignored the last column. It would write it as 2.529,346, and that's just too much precision for what we're trying to do. And then I just copy that formula right down, and now I have a nice table of world population in the year versus world population in billions. I can select those 2 columns and make a graph by inserting, and I'll do an XY scatter again, and this is what I have for the mid-range estimate of world population. And like before, we can play around with the scale and things like that. Okay, good.